Alright chat, today is going to be a great video. So how many of you have heard of the YouTuber Birdie? They were relevant in the Just a Robot and Synnibear drama as one of the main accusers against Synni. But as it turns out though, it seems like Birdie themselves is also kind of a psychotic person. Whether it just be general awful behavior to others online and their own family, their constant victim complex, and the fact that they're just in general a terrible person, we're going to go through everything. Now there are two main videos floating around, and over the course of this video we'll be going through both of them and basically sum everything up about them. One of which is an exposed video, and the other is a recording of a call between Birdie and another person. Both of these videos are very long, so for those of you who don't have all the time in the world to watch these, take these kinda as the ADHD version. We'll go point by point and combine both videos together so we can fully paint the messy picture that is Birdie. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe so that I can feed my starving family. So, let's get a little bit of backstory. Birdie is a 20-year-old trans man with over 100k subs on YouTube. They created their channel way back in 2017, and their content consists of mostly short little animations, with some videos of them just venting sprinkled in. Now, obviously, being around since 2017, there are a lot of videos on this channel, and some of these videos are the topic of a video by Lord Crust. In his video, he goes over a lot of Birdie's content, as well as a lot of the conflicting statements they've made over the years, and just in general how insufferable this person is. With that, we're going to get started by going over his video first.
Hi, my name is Jack, or Lucifer. My pronouns are he, it. I'm 19. I'm aroaced and gay, ooh la la. My favorite colors are red, black, and yellow. I'm a demon kitty. I love rainbows and tacos and cats and randomness. I love scene and decora and emo, but that's pretty obvious, isn't it? I have evil autism.
This should be an indicator of who this person is going forward.
If you are a member of my family watching this video, including my parents and grandparents, I kindly advise that you stop here. I do not wish to have you be part of my internet life because you have irreversibly hurt me, and I'm going to be straightforward and honest about the damage that you've done.
So over the course of this video, we're going to find out that a lot of this stuff seems like bullshit. But even apart from that, it's never really a good idea to talk about your family or whatever drama you have with your family online. While most people realize that, this person is far too terminally online to understand that. They also later go on to say that their family watches their videos, and videos that are making fun of them, so yeah, keep that in mind. We then get a little more background about Birdie and what they claim to have. They claim they have autism, ADHD, schizophrenia, and bipolar disorder. They also claim to be asexual and gay at the same time, which is a kind of a contradiction when you think about it. They also say they suffer from a heart condition as well as depression, as well as DID or some shit similar to that for a while. If you ask me though, it kind of comes across as bullshit, and according to a trained medical professional they talked to as well, they basically said the same thing.
When Carol first appeared when I was 14, I went all the way to fucking Seattle Children's Hospital to see a psychiatrist, only for him to brush me off for being autistic and tell me that I have a vivid imagination and that it was just the autism.
So, let's start this off on a funny note. Birdie says they were groomed by another YouTuber, Kitty Dog, when they were 12, and Kitty Dog was 14.
I know a few of you are probably going to say this as some sort of counter-argument, so I'd like to acknowledge it. The age gap wasn't, like, huge. I was 12 and she was 14, but, like, let's not get caught up in the logistics of grooming. I am not misusing the word. I can confidently say that this is what this was.
I'm gonna need a fucking calculator because this is not adding up. But then they later said that they dated a 13-year-old while 16.
In 2021, I went through my breakup. This breakup alone put me into another psychotic state where I was essentially dissociating 24/7 and became unable to make proper judgment anymore. Exactly 5 days after said breakup, I was asked out by my former friend Draggy, who was 13. I was 16. And it was my responsibility as the older person to turn them down, but because of the mental state I was in, I was unable to make the right decision. They were entirely aware of the mental state I was in.
Birdie calls Kitty Dog a groomer, but justifies their relationship with the 13-year-old by saying that the 13-year-old kind of groomed them into a relationship. Now, let's be clear here, I don't think either of these situations are grooming, but if we use Birdie's definition against them, then they'd be a groomer in their own words.
I'm sorry, but have you ever met a 12-year-old that hasn't drawn
Yes, most of them who, didn't have unrestricted access to the internet. The only people who do this are degenerate freaks who turned into you when they grew up. Also add dissociation into the list of things this person claims they have, like the laundry list. Birdie claims that when they were younger, they doxed their family's house address because they were suicidal. And then when they were confronted by their mother about this, they claimed they were abused. Here's a clip of what this abuse sounds like.
Did you give our address to somebody? Shut! Did you? There are people here. I need to know if you did that. I will tell you after this. No, okay. Not after now. Mom, just dance up there right now. There are people watching this. I need.
Yeah, so call me crazy. That's not abuse, like, at all. Their mom was honestly very nice about this whole thing, while you screamed like a lunatic. So your story about your mom being abusive because she yelled at you seems like the exact opposite. We then get to the weirdest claim of the entire video. Birdie talks about how there's allegations of them abusing their ferret. Now this person is clearly an idiot and like just a disgusting freak in general, but they wouldn't go as so far as to, you know, rape their pet ferret.
So there's this screenshot that my ex spread around of me saying I sexually abused my ferret. Of course, if this was true, that would be fucking deplorable, and holy shit, you'd have to send me to jail. Straight to jail. That would be it. You'd have to lock me up and throw away the key, guys. But?
But? Wait, what do you mean but?
There's a shit ton of context missing from this. Admittedly, I didn't mention this in the screenshot, but the reason this happened is because I was groomed into it when I was 13 years old.
Alright, fuck me, I guess. So yeah, long story short, Birdie didn't actually rape their pet ferret. They were just prepared to orally rape it.
Which is almost as important as the grooming context, is that right in the screenshot I said I didn't even go through with it. Like, it never even happened. I just prepared to do it because I was 13 and I was told to. This was extremely traumatic for me.
And were groomed into it by someone else. Please keep in mind all we have is the claim that they were going to rape the ferret, and no proof to back up that they were groomed into it.
I don't have proof of this because I lost the DMs with my groomer, nor do I even want to find them.
And by the way, just based off their definition of grooming before, I'm calling bullshit.
Fuck work anyways, it's not like I'm physically or mentally capable enough to uphold a job in the first place. Fuck capitalism, fuck the public school system, fuck ableism.
And most importantly, fuck my ferret. Hell yeah!
But due to recent events, I've come to find that my whole family is abusive, not just my parents, and I'd like to talk about it. Well, with the exception of my siblings, of course. I'm talking about my grandparents.
This is once again something that gets debunked in this video. Birdie has already lied about an instance of abuse so far, but even then though, why are you talking about any of your family-related drama online? Like, how are you so terminally, like, mind-fucked that you think this is a good idea? They talk about how their parents were abusive, and instead of prioritizing the alleged physical abuse they endured, they instead bring up the fact that their parents are Christians and Trump supporters first. If I was to say that I was abused, my first point wouldn't be my parents' religious beliefs. It'd probably be the fact that they beat me. I guess that's what I would say in your instance.
They cut off my internet directly afterwards and they refused to bring it back. This happened when I was 14 too, except when I was 14 I ended up having a psychotic break that lasted for months, and the Wi-Fi being out was most of the reason for it.
This person had a fucking psychotic break because they had their internet turned off. I think we need to cut this person's internet off forever, to be honest. They then also lied to their parents about self-harming and tried to spin it so that their parents are the bad guys.
So, back then, I obviously didn't want to have a psychotic break again, and I had nothing else to live for aside from the internet, so I attempted suicide. I told my parents I needed to go to the hospital because I thought I was bleeding out, when I was actually fine.
You are psychotic. You admitted to basically just fucking with your parents, saying that you need to go to the hospital because you're bleeding, when you're not.
So this is too close about it, but it's random one. I can control the time.
Dad, stop! You're gonna make someone hate me!
Well, it would be fine because you won't be on the internet at all if you follow direction.
If you cut off the internet, I'm gonna kill myself. You know that.
This person is fucking insufferable. Then we talk about how Birdie moved in with another person after their parents kicked them out. And, what do we have? Oh, well, this is another person who apparently abused Birdie.
I waited until I turned 18, and I prepared for over a year, all while hiding my plans from my parents. I relied on this guy for my own safety, and he began to emotionally abuse me as well.
Hell yeah, we have another thing to add on to the victim list. And what did he do to emotionally abuse them? They bought Birdie gifts.
Also, another really weird thing that this guy did is that he kept bribing me with gifts.
That's right, chat. This is abuse. Birthday parties are torture for this person. How dare you buy this person a gift? After that fiasco, Birdie then moved in with their grandma, where their grandma abused them by making them wake up to go to class. I'm starting to notice a pattern when it comes to people who are abusing Birdie.
Issues began to arise when she expected me to wake up early to go to school 3 days a week and work on math at home for an hour every day, as well as getting to all my appointments by myself.
They then lie about their grandma abusing them again. This time they show up text messages to completely debunk their own story.
I texted my grandma one day to ask if I could have some food in her house that I knew nobody was eating, and she got mad at me and told me not to blow up her phone asking for help ever again.
What? You can't just say that and expect me to believe you when you're showing fucking contradictory evidence on screen.
Now, listen to this. Birdie didn't like the halfway house they were put in, so they called their grandparents to take them out. Notice this is the same grandparents they say were abusing them. They then let Birdie stay in a space in the garage for free. I'm gonna ask you guys, do you think Birdie was appreciative for getting out of what they describe as a bad area and giving them free space to live in? No, fuck you, you dumbass. Instead, Birdie actually says once again, they're being abused because they don't have a lock on their door?
I began staying at her place, and I quickly realized this was a really bad idea. They had me live in their garage, and the room that they placed me in had no locks and no doors.
Fucking checks out to me. Later on, their grandmother actually said they would buy Birdie their own place in their own hometown so they could live there. Rather than live in the places her grandma said she could live in, you know, how they offered to buy them their own house or to stay at an unfinished beach house in Oregon, Birdie said, nah, fuck that, and ended up back at the homeless shelter. And now we delve back into the Synnibear situation. Now, I'm not going to relitigate everything about that. It's been covered to death by people way better than me, but some details are relevant. Now, Birdie moved out of this halfway house to live with Synnibear, and then everything about that happened. You know, the whole sending porn to a minor while 20 and they were 14 and shit. Now, if you've seen coverage of this situation, you might know the fact that Birdie started a GoFundMe after Synni got exposed so that they could move, which I think everyone agreed was fucking dumb. And that's basically the sole reason that their video ever got uploaded. It was to capitalize on the drama. Now, the GoFundMe made $11,000, I believe, and apparently none of that money got used as advertised, because apparently Birdie decided to use that money to buy My Little Pony merchandise.
This campaign ended up raising a total of 11,110 USD. However, I've seen several claims with evidence that the money did not get used as advertised, and instead went towards furthering Birdie's My Little Pony merch collection, which, okay, buddy.
This is a fucking disgusting person. Birdie moved in with someone else after they got kicked out again for being an asshole, and would you believe it? They once again tried to make themselves the victim and blame the person for giving them free housing.
The person who initially made this claim was a Twitter user by the name of Queen, and they are actually the individual who temporarily housed Birdie after the release of this video. Temporarily because Birdie got kicked out, of course, which led to Birdie accusing Queen of being a manipulative, abusive hoarder. Of course.
Dude, this bitch is fucking literally Boogie2988. Oh my god. How am I just now realizing this? The stupid fucking mental disorder lies, the suicide baiting, the lying about everyone in their life being abusive. It's fucking trans Boogie. Holy shit. Get this person on lolcow.
We celebrated Christmas together. We celebrated Thanksgiving together. My whole family treated her like she was part of us. Even my parents. We went on vacation with family in Seattle for 4 days very recently. My grandparents paid to fly me and Synni out to Seattle, and they don't even know her.
Wait, isn't this like the same family you said physically and sexually abused you? Why are you like happy that they like your roommate? And by the way, something we talked about earlier was Birdie's laundry list of things they claim they suffer with. Synni, by the way, goes on to confirm that Birdie has 0 diagnoses for the shit they claim to have.
Jack is seemingly physically disabled, possibly from a heart condition. The reason I say seemingly is because Jack doesn't have any form of diagnosis, and I don't know if I should definitively state that he has a condition.
Is anyone shocked? Because I'm not. And with that, we have finished one of the videos. Don't worry, second video is way shorter. The second video we're going over is a recorded call between Birdie and another person named Queen. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of this call is fucking pointless. So we're only going to go over a few things that I found very interesting.
Still hid in the guest room. And then the glorification of your self-scars, and you carved his name in your arm. That's not great. You know this.
Alright, so like 3 minutes in and we already got some wild shit. We also learned that Birdie is so fucking helpless that they don't know how to wash dishes.
You tell Synni to do the dishes and everything like that. She says she does, she will, and the stuff like that. So you know that the dishes should be done.
I don't know how they're supposed to be done.
They can't wash their own dishes. This person is literally a leech who cannot fend for themselves. And it's not because of mental issues, it's because they're the laziest fucking person alive. After that though, there's legit like 30 minutes of yapping that does not amount to anything in the video. It's just the same, Birdie, you suck, you don't do anything. Eventually, this Queen person decides to bring up porn.
Don't blame that. And then, speaking of nudes, you have porn.
What that essentially amounts to, though, is that Birdie sent porn to people as a kid and then lies and says this porn is available on Kiwi Farms, even though I think every person who knows anything about Kiwi Farms knows that's not how the site works. I don't know, I'm not an avid Kiwi Farms user. Maybe they changed their rules, but I'm going to say that that's probably a lie. I'm going to be honest, this video is kind of fucking pointless. It's essentially this Queen person dumping every single problem they have with Birdie, and, you know, at most, it makes them look like a little bit fucking weird, as we already knew, but it doesn't really, like, reveal a whole lot other than that. If you hate Birdie, I'm sure this video is great, but I don't know, if you don't really give a shit, then it's just kind of a yap session. And that's the end of the whole Birdie video. To round this off, I think Birdie is a fucking leech on society, man. I mean, this is just someone who should leave the internet. They literally cannot fend for themselves because they're such a lazy prick. And it's not because they won't. It's just because they don't want to. As someone who used to be in similar spaces as this person when I was younger, I mean, these places just seem to be a breeding ground for these people, and Birdie seems to be like the prime example. This is someone who will probably never amount to anything in life apart from our 100K YouTube subscriber channel. They don't get a job. They like actively refuse to do that. Instead they leech off of others around them. Their family hates them because they've definitely seen the videos they've made on them, and just off of what I've seen alone, Birdie has absolutely lied about their family. Anyway, that's where I'm gonna end the video. I don't know, join the Discord, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe, I guess. It'd be pretty cool. Anyway, I don't know. Later.